Hey guys, welcome back to another Mesh previously technical analysis video. We jump in with the DXY, the US dollar. We've had monthly closure. We have a look at this wick to the downside. So the DXY is still trading within this bearish triangle that we've been keeping an eye on. Still bouncing off support around 101,500, but we've failed to break out of this area. If we have a look, still big wick to the downside, suggesting that we still are holding support at that 101,500 area we've been watching. But if we go down to the weekly, once again, we have this lower high, lower low, lower high. We haven't been able to make a new lower low, obviously with this 101,500 acting as strong support on the higher time frames. As we see prices bounced off this area around 102 area. But we see the weekly candle closed out as an indecision doji, suggesting that price does still want to trade within this bearish wedge and fall down back towards this 101,500 area. If we go into the daily, we've been trading within this channel over the last few days. We did manage to find some support around 102,700, which was previous resistance became support over this side. But we still managed to hold resistance at 103,500 area. So what I'm expecting on the DXY this week, we do have some fundamentals on the US dollar to pay attention to in some FOMC minutes. So I'm expecting price to keep trading up this range, to keep trading up within this channel, and potentially a retest of the 104 area, which is, if we zoom out, we can see this trend line coming down. So price has managed to, it came up, give us the top of this trend line, came back down towards the area we've been mentioning, 101,500, which is all within this falling triangle. So price could be coming back up to retest this area around 104, which is an area of supply and demand. And it's also, if price respects this trend line, falling down. So if we just having a look on the, 104 getting retested. Yeah, if we see it as well, before we drop down off this area, when we established support over here at 104 on the daily, once we dropped down here, we didn't retest this 104 area for confirmation. So prices gave us out here like extension at 103,500 and then dropped. So we could potentially, if we go down to the lower time frames, if we look on the 4 hour, this area mentioned, so we didn't get a retest of that area, 104. So just looking off where price is now, we could see price trade up into this area, into 104, before grabbing liquidity and then start to make its way down. If price starts to break above these areas on the monthly, obviously to keep an eye out for, we got this area on the monthly with this trend line breaking. So just keep an eye on, if price does manage to break out of this trend line, we could see a retest of 105 area. But just at the minute, just off what I'm seeing, I'm expecting a retest of 104, just an area of consolidation within this channel, rising consolidation up to this 104. Potentially, if not, then we can see 103 holding as resistance before we break to the downside. But just off this daily bullish structure, I can see us at least coming up to retest 104, and then I'll be keeping an eye on what price does around this area. That's the outlook on the DXY this week.
That's a very bearish descending triangle here on a macro scale. Go on a weekly.
Yeah, that's what I've been looking at over the last few weeks. We've got this area coming and getting retested. We dropped down, held support, retesting. So we're coming in to retest the support again. I'm hoping that this, I'm predicting that this, obviously, like you say, it's a very bearish triangle that we're seeing. So the longer the support keeps getting retested, then obviously eventually we will break if we come in and then start to see the squeeze within this triangle. But yeah, for the minute, just with that area around 104 being on that trend line, we've got this channel running up towards it on the daily, and we've failed to have a retest of that area. obviously that's what I'm paying attention to this week. But if we do break, like you're saying there, with it being a very bearish pattern on the macro, if we do break to the downside, this daily channel and this area, which I've been watching at 102,700, then yeah, potentially coming back to retest that area that we've been mentioning.
When does this, just go back to the weekly time frame, when did the descending triangle begin? What date? Does that coincide with November,
It was around.
November 21,
So you could
November
even,
22? No, yeah, look at it. It's right. It's November 22. So exactly. So this has been since they started quantitative tightening. So looking from the TA perspective, their QT is working. We're seeing dollar strength beginning to fall. But if that 101.5 level breaks, zoom out, like that's the collapse.
yeah, I've got my next level down here. Obviously, we just zoom in on that area. It's obviously on a weekly chart. So we had this move to the upside, pull back, this little bit of consolidation on the weekly, and then we rip out from that. And you can see, obviously, we've moved quite a considerable amount from that weekly consolidation. We've moved like just over 5%. So, like you say, if we do break this 101,500, which it's been holding for a long time, but like you say, we've been making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, potentially about to make another lower low, retest that neckline. Or once again, we could see a retest of this area, and then potentially, like say on the monthly, you can see the amount of bullish volume we had up, and we had no retest of these areas. So that's obviously why we've been paying attention to this 101,500 support, because if it does break, which it looks like we've got the potential for, obviously the chart pattern indicating that we're very bearish on the DXY at the minute, and with this falling triangle that we're seeing, obviously that 101,500 breaks, then we're going to see a lot of bearish volume come in if we do get a third leg extension. And then they say the next area is around 99.
And there's not many levels on the monthly that we've actually, we've got 2-3 levels that to confirm on the monthly there. So I guess what we need to evaluate is at that time how inflation is working. There's nothing to say that we don't get a double peak in inflation. We retest all of these levels, and if we look at all of the balance sheet holes and how the Fed's now allowed for the banks to anonymously fund their balance sheets or the holes.
Yeah, because like you're saying, if we do have, obviously, if these areas start to get confirmed, retested, and then we start to see a bullish move to break all these areas of structure, then like you say, we do have quite a sizable move up to retest these highs, which, like you say, we could have a double check before we go back down.
And they did say they're going to make 2 different rate changes.
It's interesting at the minute on the DXY. Like you say, we're getting this over the last couple of years. You can see we do have quite a lot of movements, a lot of swings on the DXY, but you can see at the minute it's been in this tight consolidation for quite a few months now. So whatever way we break this 101,500 neckline, or we break this 105, yeah, around 105, just
go to 01,
2001.
Yeah. So this is that .com bubble burst.
Yeah, so we peaked out around there. So we still got a ways to go from. If we do, like you say, we've had these areas of resistance again. Obviously, we broke that area of resistance. So this is a very important area to pay attention to on the DXY, obviously on a monthly time frame. So now, like you say, we're starting to see that area of consolidation. So I think if we do whatever way we break this 105 area, or we break this 101,500 area, whatever way we break, we're going to break a lot of volume. Obviously, potentially, if we break down lower, we can come down to even these lows where we're seeing this resistance support. So that's around,
those
92. So there's
quite a size. We haven't retested those levels at all either, and I think it's more likely that we retest the lower levels and the upper levels from where we stand today, because all of the structures very bearish. There's 2 more rate increases as well, so US dollar should also come in lower, but it's respecting that triangle on a macro level, so it's strong.
Yeah, if you look, we have, you say whatever, because we're having this consolidation over a long period of time, that's where we start to build up liquidity. And they say we got a 15% increase to break this area up to these previous .com highs, and then you say, back down to this other level of support. It's quite a big move as well for it. Just once we see these areas of consolidation, as we break out with quite a bit of volume, don't we? So it's going to be interesting over the next few weeks with the US dollar starting to consolidate into this tight range.
Yeah,
But yeah,
definitely. That's a
expecting
squeeze.
squeeze into 101,500. It's the fact that it's squeezing into this important area as well. Like say, we're always paying attention to it from this area. Once we got that retest of that area, obviously this being that important area of supply and demand, and then we constantly confirming it. And the way we're making these lower highs into that area, it's obviously suggesting that we could break this 101,500 area with a lot of volume. So one to pay attention to over the next few weeks.
Thanks.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, that's it. The Dixie this week.